What is it about someone that captures your eye? Is it their sensuous eyes or a beaming smile, or does a uniform drive you wild? Maybe it's a sense of humor or a unique accent that does it for you. What makes someone unforgettable? Stay tuned for this and more, coming up next on Black Perspective.
This is an NBC 30 Public Affairs presentation, Black Perspective.
Welcome to Black Perspective. I'm Linnet Carty. So what is it that sparks the visual flame when you first meet someone? Here to discuss Black women and dating are Lydia Esdaile, Heather Cato, and Carla Canty. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you.
So who wants to answer this first? What is it that sparks that first flame, that first visual sight before you know anything about the person? What is it that gets it for you?
I'll answer that. I think it's just a sense of humor. Something funny, something witty, something that just makes you laugh. That's what gets me going.
It would be the visual. It's all visual at first. Depends on what he looks like, what he's dressed like, you know, how he carries himself, and, you know, just visual for me at the beginning, and then it's all whatever comes out of his mouth.
I have to agree with her. It's definitely the visual. You get someone that has a presence, you know, the way they kind of come into a room, how they kind of work the room and kind of deal with other people, and there's a certain chemistry in that. So that catches my attention immediately.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's talk really about dating. And, you know, if I asked each one of you, what does dating mean to you? Well, I'm gonna ask you, but you know, because we know that it means a different thing for women than it does for men.
Right.
So,
Right.
Lydia, what does dating mean to you? Does it mean one person, several people with no
Well,
intimacy, or
you
one person in
know.
commitment?
That has evolved. That's changed over the
Yeah,
years.
yeah, the definition has changed.
I mean, I would say when we were younger, you know, dating was when you went out, went to a movie, went to dinner or something, and you say you were dating that person. And then later, and that's the definition I kind of kept, but it seems to me that it's a cultural thing too, because it seems like African Americans, when they think of dating somebody, that means that they're actually in a committed relationship with that person. So I'd like to just stick to the old definitions, like we're dating, we're going out, spending time together, you buy me dinner, and we're good.
Carla?
Wow, it's a complicated thing, dating. Everybody looks at it differently. I mean, even just this week, I've had several discussions with several other women and different races. And when it comes to dating, everyone thinks that you're, like she said, committed. And when I had the discussions earlier this week with friends, I'm like, no, it's not a commitment. There's no ring. There's no talk of the future. We're just having a good time. So just because you've seen me with this person once or twice doesn't mean that we've become committed. Commitment, you know, comes when you define what you're in. And if it's not defined, you're just dating.
Dating. Okay. Heather?
I agree with Carla and with Lydia. Dating for me is seeing more than one person. But I think after a while, you start to think, well, maybe I am committed because I'm seeing that one person. But I agree, dating is more than one person, and it doesn't have to be committed.
Well, I guess I'm old school. I am older than all of you, and so for me, dating is one person because I only have time to get to know one person at a time. So it's a little different for me. It's interesting.
Wow.
Have any of you experimented with the new thing out now? It's called speed dating. And for those viewers at home that might not be familiar with it, they normally happen in a social setting, normally a club, and there are several tables set up, tables of two. And I think you talk for about 3 minutes,
Okay.
and then you rotate. So a guy and a girl come to a table, and everybody's paired up, twos and twos, and you ask whatever questions you want of the person. And at the end of the 3 minute, when the timer goes off, either you exchange numbers or you don't, and you move to another table. Would you do it?
In the right setting, perhaps. I've seen it on television shows, you know, and it's really hectic and things like that. But I haven't seen a lot of African Americans doing the speed dating. But it would be nice to see.
I don't think I could do it because it's like an open competition. And if I see someone that I'm attracted to and I can see him making eyes at the next person, I'm going to be hurt. So I'm not setting myself up for that.
I don't know if I can figure out what's going on that quickly. I mean, I'm talking
That's
to someone
true.
and kind of get a quick assessment. I need a little bit more time for research.
Research. Okay. Let's talk about research. What are some of the typical questions that you would ask a gentleman when you meet him? I know my favorite question when I meet a guy is usually, if I met your last 3 girlfriends in a bathroom, what would they tell me about you? And you'd be surprised the information that a guy would tell you about what his previous girlfriends would say about him. So what are some things that you would ask a gentleman in first time meeting?
Usually just, do you have any brothers and sisters? Tell me about...
The general questions.
General questions, yeah. I don't probe too much until it's maybe the second time I'm getting to know them. Because if they're not interesting to me, then I'm not even going to get to the next level with them.
Okay.
Carla,
Lydia?
what am I going to ask?
Or what have you asked?
I definitely want to know if he's got a job and what does he do in his spare time.
Right. Okay.
I need to know that, you can take me out on a date, take me out for a good time, or we can, like grow together because I'm here. I can't have you beneath me. We either got to be on the same level or please be, beyond me because, that's important. Okay. Especially at my age.
Lydia?
I there are 2 ways to go about this. You can do the general stuff, but then you can do the tricky stuff. Kind of get an idea of what the character's like. Do you like animals? Now, if someone says something really weird about animals, and more than likely you don't want to spend any time with that person. Where's their mother? How is their mother? How they treat their mother. If they rant and rave about their ex-wife, it's okay to go out with someone who's divorced. But if he keeps talking about she did this and she...
Oh no.
That might not be a person you want to spend a lot of time with. So there's different little, personality indicators, as I call them, that you can kind of get a sense of what's going on. Can you tell I do this a lot?
Yes. So what are the attributes that you look for in a gentleman? I mean, I know lots of women look for some of the superficial things. He's got to be tall. He's got to be well groomed. Some women like the metrosexual look where the guys get their nails done and they're perfectly coiffed and they have their eyebrows plucked. What are the attributes that you look for beyond the superficial in a gentleman?
Well, I mean, I have a big personality. I'm a social person. I spend a lot of time out. So the person would really have to be comfortable with that. If someone likes to be at home and doesn't like to be in crowd, more than likely that's not somebody that's gonna fit with me. So I think after a while you start to look for people that kind of complement your personality or your day-to-day life, and that that going forth, well, at least you've got like a baseline. You still may not work out, but at least you've got some understanding that there's something to work with. So I mean those kinds of things. But outside of like over 6'2" and 230.
Big guy, tall guy.
Tall guy. I'm a tall woman, so I've done short before, but
me too.
I prefer the tall guys.
Okay.
So,
Carla?
No, I can't do short. I'm sorry. Only because I'm tall and it's just awkward for me. I have a lot of friends that are shorter than me, but they date women that are about their height. But for me, I look for a nice build, athletic build, tall. A nice complexion.
But what else beyond that? What else beyond that superficial stuff?
Like I said, a good personality. You have to have a sense of humor. Have to have a good conversation. If you don't have anything good to say, then it's not going to pique my interest. And like Lydia said, someone that is sociable and is willing to let you, be yourself, and at the same time, you don't see them at the club every week. You don't want to see him every time you go out, because you're like, oh, what is he doing in his spare time besides hanging out?
I have to say, for me, it's changed. The older I get, it changes. Yeah. And right now, what's important to me is someone who's going to not cater to me, but make sure I'm okay in a relationship, make sure I'm getting my needs met, in all kinds of ways, and just to know that I'm important to them. So if they can show me that I'm here to make sure you're okay and you're happy, then that's A+ right there.
Now, both of you have said, you and Lydia both mentioned, being able to be financially able to take you out and have a good time, etc. Are you willing to do that for a man as well?
Oh yeah,
to take him out.
I've done it in the past.
And,
yeah, I've done it. Sure. I mean, fair and equitable. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes both ways. I've dated someone that lives in New York. I live in Connecticut, and it's almost like a given. If I have to travel to New York, everything's on him when I get there. If he travels to Connecticut, everything's on me when he gets here. It's just give and take.
All right.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I like to take care of a guy if he's here to visit me, and if I go to visit him, then yeah, that would be nice.
Great, great. Well, let's very quickly talk about some funny things that men say, because we know that sometimes they feel a little bit awkward when they approach us. And I'll share a quick story with you. I was grabbing my lunch at the old Civic Center where the Wendy's was, and I always have a Caesar salad with 3 cartons of milk. And so it's a hot sunny day and I'm running down the steps with my 3 cartons of milk, and this guy screams very loudly for everyone to hear, "Boy, milk sure does a body good." And I was humiliated, but it was funny, and so I had to laugh. And what was even funnier is I saw him like a year later, and I just felt somebody tap me, and I turned and he said, "Oh, I see you're still drinking milk. Will you go out with me?" No, it was funny, but no. So what are some funny things that guys have said to you?
For me, the funniest, which I hear a lot, it's not the one time that you say no, it's the one time you say yes.
Okay,
Wow.
I like that. Okay, Carla?
I can't think of one off the top right now.
Lydia?
Well, this wasn't really a pickup line. This was somebody that I'd gone out with a couple of times. I didn't know them all that well. And they had wanted me to call them that evening or whatever. And he said to me, "Well, can you call me tonight?" And I was like, "Well, sure." He said, "But you got to put some money on my phone because I don't have any minutes left."
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
You wait on that call. Coming right up.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, when we return, we'll discuss dating across the border and some non-negotiables. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Black Perspective. I'm Linnet Carty, and if you're just joining us, we're discussing Black women and dating. Ladies, let's pick up where we left off. So what is it that a guy should say or shouldn't say when he meets you?
Definitely don't mention the body parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just have a good conversation, be yourself, it'll come natural.
Yes.
Yeah, because we already know what we have, Let me know you've paid attention to me before you approach me. Witness something I've done or, something unique you notice about me. And then bring it to my attention, because I'm impressed if you show me that you were really into me. Don't give me one of those usual lines like she said, the body parts or, That's just all played out.
Yeah.
Is that your hair?
Oh, yeah, I guess you
Can
get that a
I
lot.
see if that's a weave?
And that is your hair, beautiful hair. So I can imagine guys probably ask you that a lot.
Had people try to pet me.
Yeah. I've had people ask me if these are my eyes. Yeah. Are those really your eyes? And they look,
So those aren't really good introductory lines.
Not good.
No.
Not good. What should a guy say?
Oh, I don't know. I've heard good things about you, or maybe something about my career, or something I accomplished.
About your mind,
or,
yes.
Someone says really nice things about you. I really wanted to meet you, or you seem really pleasant. Can I talk to you? Whatever. I mean, something kind of even
keeled.
Right. Or just ask me how was my day. Start off in conversation. Let's just talk. Let's just, get to know each other in general conversation, not like aiming at each other directly, but just speak in general and see if we, have the same interest in any way, or see if your conversation moves me any further.
Yeah, I agree. How are you doing today? If I'm eating something, how is your meal? Is it worth what you're paying for it? Whatever. Just anything that's gonna spark a conversation.
Now, are you willing to go up and talk to a guy first? Let's say you go somewhere and you see a guy that is attractive.
Oh yeah.
Are you aggressive enough to go up and make the first move? You have?
Yes.
And how do you do that? What do you say?
Well, there was one. It was my birthday weekend recently, and we were coming out of a nightclub, and there was a guy who had the nicest smile, and I just said, "How old are you?"
You gave them a lie.
And he said, how old do you think I am? And I said, I don't know, maybe in your early 30s. He said, I'm 35. I said, oh, well, I'm 35 today too. So how you doing? And that sparked a conversation. So,
Carla, would you be willing to make the first move to talk to a guy?
I don't know. I would make eye contact. I would probably, send a message, but verbally, no.
Lydia?
Yeah, I've tried some different things. I mean, I've done the eye contact thing. I've done that before. I bought a man a drink one time. That's usually a pretty good one. because they don't expect that, you know. But you've got to be in the right environment too, you know. It depends, and you can get a sense whether the person's going to like at least say thank you and talk to you for a minute, or just take it and walk away. There's always a risk involved, you know. But they'll say that to you. It's like, well, we always take that risk. Maybe you should take the risk. So sometimes, if you know that that's going to be your only opportunity to talk to that person, and more than likely you're never going to get that opportunity again, you got to do it.
Okay.
You got to do it.
What are some non-negotiables for you? Some things that are just, I can't do that with a guy. Either a guy that's new that you're dating or somebody that you've been in a relationship with, and they just do something that crosses the line for you, and you know that that's it, we're done. So what are some non-negotiables for you? I know you said one, Carla, he's got to have a job.
Yeah, he's got to have a job.
For me, it's being disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know, the cursing and just saying rude, being rude, things that, you know, you just don't say to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that any kind of really bad public display, you know, being really cursing somebody really loud in the street, or being disrespectful to other women, and to get back to the money thing, asking for money.
Oh, that's a
You
definite
don't know
no.
me, you're asking for money, you know. So yeah, that probably would be a deal breaker.
Would you date somebody that had a job but made less money than you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Done that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would you date outside of your race? Lydia?
Depends on what race we're talking about.
Well, there aren't that many out there. We have Caucasians.
Well, there are so many. I mean, there are a lot of different nationalities, I guess.
Well, I'm talking races.
Love has no color, Linnet.
Okay, well, I agree. I'm dating interracially, so you don't have to preach to the choir.
Yeah.
You know, I'm asking Carla, would you? Because there's a lot of guys out there that, you know, when black women say, oh, there are no men out there, I beg to differ. I feel as though sometimes our scope is very narrow. So, Carla, can you respond?
I've dated an Italian before, and they are like the sweetest and make sure you're just like well taken care of. But there's just something that we're accustomed to as black women that we can't get in a different relationship, you know, another nationality or anything. So as good as they can be to you and everything, it just still always feels like something is missing.
What is it that's missing, that you feel that's missing?
It could be physical.
Okay.
It might be the physical and the visual thing.
Okay.
Because the package is just packaged differently. But we get treated, you know, very, very nice from another race. But it just always seems to be something is missing. And I think it is that visual thing. And whenever you go places, you know, the eyes are on you and looking at you and, you know, questioning what are you doing together. So that comes into play too. Not that it should, you know, really matter, but to be honest, it does.
I guess I'm a pretty strong person. I've been in an interracial relationship for 3 years, and as all of you know, I have dated quite a few different nationalities and races and backgrounds, and I just see people for people. And so skin is skin to me, and nothing is missing. It's the inside of the person, and I've always been very careful to not judge people by the outside package, because you'd be surprised what's inside sometimes. You'd be very surprised. So Heather, would you?
I haven't, but I'm willing to try.
I'm
willing to try, you know, try anything once.
Great. What about dating blue-collar workers? I know everybody wants the guy in the suit. How do you guys feel about Lydia?
I never actually come across someone that I was attracted to, I mean, who was a blue-collar worker. I never say never. So when you just talked about dating outside the race, I don't like to say never. Talk about blue-collar, I don't like to say never, because I don't think that's fair. However, I got to think about my day-to-day, my social circles, how I move amongst up and through the world.
So if he's comfortable,
am I gonna come across that person as I'm doing my thing, you know? Are we going to have an opportunity to connect? If somebody came to my house or was working on the house or something like that, and they were fine, and I was talking to them, you know, I mean, it was, oh no, he's a house painter, I'm not going to talk to him.
Of course you would, right? Of course you
know,
would.
so.
Carla?
I was about to say, those are some of the best packages.
In the world, exactly.
Especially if they're outside worker from lifting, from, you know, just doing any type of strenuous
physically in
work.
shape.
Yeah, they're physically in shape, and they make great handymans, you know, men. So if you're at home and, you know, you need something done, you can't believe it's going to get done. Man in a suit, they're like, wait, pick up the phone, call somebody.
Yes.
So
Heather?
they work for me.
Yeah, I would date. I mean, I'm looking for someone who has a job or some kind of at least inkling that they want to work, you know. Blue collar is fine. If you're a hard worker, that's what matters to me, you know. And you can work hard and hustle and end up, you know, having your own business, whatever, you know. So I can't say never.
Okay.
I can't say never.
So where are some places to meet guys? I know women are sitting at home like, oh, okay, turn that off. Well, yeah, where are
I have to tell you all something very
places?
interesting. I recently taken a journey into the internet and internet dating. And I used to say to people, oh, you're going to run into crazy people and this and that, and I was always very apprehensive. However, I thought about it this way. I have a wide net. I have a good network. All I did was spread out my network a little bit further. And I've already met 3 guys that I would seriously talk to. Now, they live in other areas of the country, but I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet them.
Other than,
And I use the same criteria I use if they were sitting next to me in the bar, you know, to judge their character and whether we're going to get along. But I'm as happy as a peach.
Nice. Nice. Carla, where do you think some good places are to meet gentlemen?
Wow, doing what you do. I mean, I also do radio. The guy that I've dated, you know, for the last few years, I met him through interviewing him on the radio.
Exactly.
So you can meet him anywhere. You just have to be open to it.
There's plenty of places to meet guys. It's just what you're looking for, you know. A lot of networking events. I like to go to events that are, you know, uplifting, things of that nature, maybe something spiritual, poetry readings. You find a lot of deep people at poetry readings. Maybe too deep sometimes. But you know, just I like to get, and you have to get out. You can't stay in the house and hope that someone's going to knock on your door and say, oh, are you looking for a date? You know, am I the man of your dreams? You really have to just put yourself out there and just pick up the pieces if you get hurt, you know.
Right. I think sporting events are good places to meet guys.
Oh, yeah.
And I met my honey at a Breeders' Cup party. Somebody had a Breeders' Cup party, and that's where I met him. But sporting events, and especially Hartford has the GHO, and I went to cover it for the newspaper a while back, and there were literally like 20 men to every one woman.
Wow,
so that's like a great place to meet guys. All right, marriage. Let's talk marriage. Who wants to be, who's comfortable with being single? Heather, how do you feel about it?
Oh, I definitely want to get married. You know, my parents have been married over 45 years. You know, and most of our parents have, you know, our parents.
Mine just made 51.
Yeah, and you know, seeing that, you hold out hope. I mean, I'm the girl who was hoping for the white picket fence and the 3+ kids and the little dog, and you know, and that's what I'm looking for. And I hope, you know, it'll happen. You know.
Carla, and I know you're divorced, so you have a different perspective on it.
Yeah, I was married for 10 years, and I have now been single for 10 years, so I'm equal.
Okay.
I could take it or leave it. I'm comfortable in either, you know, as long as it's with the right person.
Okay, Lydia?
I want my chance at bat. I want, yeah, I do. I want to get married. I do.
Okay.
I want to get married.
Are you willing to date a divorced gentleman or a guy who's never been married but has kids and, you know, that whole baby mama, whatever? Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, I'm actually talking to a guy who's divorced. He's been divorced for quite some time. But he's actually younger than me, so, you know, it works out. It works out. Yeah.
Carla?
Well, right now I'm dating younger and no kids, so whatever comes my way that works.
Yeah, younger's always good.
Heather?
Yeah, I'm willing to date a guy who's divorced with children, as long as he has a good head on his shoulders. You know, if he takes care of his children, I don't want drama. Definitely don't want the drama. I don't want anyone calling my phone. I don't want anyone stalking me. I just want a basic relationship, and we'll take it from there.
All right, so as we close, we only have a couple of minutes left in the show. Is there anything else that you would like to say to those brothers out there that are now sitting up going, I can't believe the way they're talking about us. Any pointers that you can give them?
I love brothers, and you know, you treat a woman the way you treat yourself, and I know you treat yourself well. If you treat me the same way, it's all golden.
Okay, Carla?
I just say start being honest. I mean, that's where we mess up at. We get a lot of brothers who are not honest. If you're interested in seeing someone else, that's what dating is all about. Just tell me up front, and then we both can date, and then we can find out if we're most interested in one another. So just be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Be honest. Just talk about where you want to be in a few years. You know, what you're, you know, do you have the same aspirations as me? You know, so yeah. If you're looking for a single woman, here I am.
All right. Okay. I thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to thank you formally, Lydia Esdaile and Heather Cato and Carla Canty, for coming to the show and talking about Black women in dating. Please don't miss the next Black Perspective, where you'll hear the male point of view on dating. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Linnet Carty, and we'll see you on the next Black Perspective.